Hi guys. Well, it's that time of month again. I'm sorry we haven't had anything for the last week. Few issues at home, but we've managed to sort those all out. But it's asset drop time. So, got this yesterday. Managed to take the top off. That's all. So you're seeing it for the first time as well as me, and as you can see, it's the right way round this time. So, what goodies have we been sent this month? Right. As usual, painting guide. We'll take a look at that at the end because we don't want to spoil what's in here. And they're very nicely wrapped, as always. And yes, I am teasing myself a little bit with this. So let us see what we've got in here. First of all, Haribo Tang Fastics. Can't go wrong with a little bit of Tang. Always good for the fat man. And we'll see. Now, last month I thought we were going to be getting some stuff from Army Painter. Let's see what we've got in here instead. Anyway, so we have a ComArt Pearlescent Medium by the looks of it. Let's see. Complete with agitator. Or is it an pearlescent color? It just says OP Pearlescent. So we'll take a look and see what that's for in a minute. But complete with agitator. Haven't used ComArt before, but always like to try new things anyway. We've got a very small pot of, what is this? Pearl, what is it? Is a Pearl X. So a sapphire blue pearlescent pigment by the looks of it. Let's take a look. Now this isn't likely to go everywhere on us, but we'll take a look and see what's in it. They thought about it going everywhere when it was coming, so nice finely ground pigment, really rich blue, and has a slight shimmer, so it's a metallic rather than pearlescent. If it is pearlescent at all, it's a silver blue pearl, but that could be interesting. Next, 3 of the Vallejo Mecha paints. New line from Vallejo that I haven't tried before again. So, light rust wash, starting us off. We'll give these a look through on some paper in a little bit and see what they're like. I'm getting a bit of a theme here this month. A dark rust wash. And, a texture. A matte rust texture. Now, I do have the Vallejo texture paints around somewhere, and they're really, really, really good. And I have a feeling this might be the same thing, just set out for the Mecha range. So, a rust trio ready to go there, and a little less than last month, but still a good value. That's the last 3 paints out of this, and I was a little wrong. This month it's scale 75. It was actually Secret Weapon I thought he was going to throw in, but no, we've got Heike Yellow, Fantasy Games scale 75 paints. Always love these paints, always love them. They dry super matte though. Peanut butter. Right, okay. Interesting. So it's a reddish brown. Forgot with these guys you do have to pierce the bottles. So I will find us a needle in a second to pierce that. And a Marduk yellow. Now that's a really bright, intense yellow. So we'll give that a look in as well in a second. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking it's going to be some sort of weathering tutorial this month. I can't think of any other reason why it would be, or what other things it would be here. So they've launched, going through the guides here, so a little note from Andy on the inside saying that they're launching a new box, or they have launched their new box, the Hero boxes, late last year, which are really, really, really good. There's another box on its way, which is called Baseworks. Now, that's one I'm really looking forward to. You've got basically all terrain and basing materials. So that should be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see what that's going to be like. And their monthly competition as well. So you share your photos on the Asset Drop website, or you just email them to them, and you could get yourself a one of their boxes, which is really, really nice. So let's see what we got in the box itself. So, yep, the weathering texture, the dark rust wash and the light rust wash, £2.70 each. So we're going to be looking forward to seeing what these are. A little bit of history about Vallejo themselves. So that'll be interesting. The ComArt pearlescent additive. So this is basically, I'm going to be interested to see what this does. I think it lets you actually make your own pearlescent paints, but we'll see when we go through it. Scale 75. Now that would be £4.30 for this. Now I'm going to reserve judgment on this one because I think it's a little bit niche. I think it's there's not all that many of us are going to be using the pearlescence all that often. So how much value you get from this, I don't know. But with Asset Drop, it's something you're adding into your arsenal that you may never have bought anyway. So if you come to that situation where you're, say, painting Death Guard and you want to give a sheen to your bloat flies or whatever, this might be the solution. I'm not sure yet. As I say, I've never used it. I'm going to take a look and see what Andy says in his booklet, and see what to say in this. So it's unusual, possibly niche, but something very valuable to have in your arsenal just in case. So we'll see what it's like. Scale 75 stuff, I can't say enough good things about. They're always, always good. I say for some people they may be a little too matte, but I love them. I absolutely love them. I like to paint in the more realistic style a lot of the time rather than cartoony and over exaggerated. These blend beautifully. They give a really, really good finish for other paints on top of as well. So yeah, I can't say a bad thing about them really. £2.90 each for those. And the Pearl X by Jacquard Sapphire Blue Pigment, another family-owned company. They've got a way of using it in the guide, so we'll see what it does in this. Right. So as far as techniques this month are doing, they have a full tutorial on painting rust. So from the rust texture, the dark wash and light rust texture on the top. So, and then adding pearlescent medium to black paint. That's interesting. So that'll give you a gunmetal chipped look, a worn, dark and grimy effect, but adds a little bit of the metallic luster. So it gives you dirty metal without completely matting it down. Now, usually for that sort of effect would be putting down our base color, metallic, weathering over the top of it, and possibly dry brushing our metallic back up again over the top of it. This seems to be a way of doing it so that we can skip a step where we don't have to re-dry brush over the top of it again. So, interesting. Explaining on how to add the rust texture. I'm going into actually painting the rust on. Little bullet point knot to thin the paints down on this, and a tip on stippling. Excellent. Yeah, I can see lots of uses for this. How to feather stuff in, how to add dark rust washes. Now, here's the pearlescence stuff that I'm not sure on. Like, Now, I've already seen he's given us one use for this, which will be for being able to push that metallic effect through instead of having to dry brush metals back on top again, which occasionally can look too clean. If you get my meaning, it's sort of like you'll wash it down to get it nice, dark, and grimy, and then when you put your dry brush over the top of it again, the scraping's too new. If you want something that hasn't been used for a while, if you want a walkway that nobody's been near for decades, dry brushing over the top of it can brighten it up too much, and then you're darkening it down again with a wash over the top. This might solve that issue. So yeah, I'm liking to see what that is. So the pearlescent medium can be used for thinning metallics. Oh, now that's interesting. I never thought of that. Because acrylic thinners and distilled waters don't behave well with metallic colors, you can use this to thin it down to stop it separating, but it will make it paler and slightly more glittery. So, yeah, I can see, I always try and stay away from the disco ball look, but I'm not giving up on it yet. It's something I've not tried. So, you can add it to acrylics to make them metallic. The metallic pigment settles, so you just use it as you need. 1 drop paint, 3 drops pearlescent is Andy's advice. So we can try that one. And you can use it as a highlight for other metals as well. They add a silvery white highlight. Now, I'm one that likes to use the Scale 75 metallic ranges because they have a set of alchemy colors. And the alchemy colors that are included in each box of their themed metallics is really, really nice for highlighting those kind of metallics without going to silver. For me, a lot of the time going for silver makes it look more worn than highlighted. Like when you see cheap plated gold watches and somebody's had them for a while and the silver starting to show through underneath, or whatever color underneath is starting to show through. It doesn't look highlighted, it just looks battered or worn, which can look nice, but for highlighting up, I'd stick with more of the correct colors. So even if you are using a silver, if you're highlighting a gold, I'd mix a little of the base gold in with a silver to give you a brighter gold rather than a pure silver. Next one down, we have uses for your Pearl X. So giving you safety, a safety notice. So don't use it as eyeshadow or body glitter, no matter how pretty it is. Okay, Andy, if that's what you've safety tested for us yourself, well, I'm not going to judge on that one, but I won't be trying it as a body glitter. And thank you for the warning. So, making your own metal trio, so you can mix your new pigment with a matte color to form a metallic paint. Adding it to the pearlescent, so you can make it into a paint all of its own, which apparently is great for power weapons and gemstones and magical miniatures. Okay, giving you mixing ratios. So how to use it, if it basically letting you know that if you add it, it'll dry out quicker. How to seal it, mixing it with metallics to change their tones. Oh, now that I can see a use for. If you want a nice blued steel, adding that into, say, the Vallejo Model Air steel colors. Now that could be really nice, actually. Dust it over your miniatures like you would with a standard pigment, but you would have to seal that afterwards. And finally, by the looks of it, yeah, it's painting yellow feathers. So how to use these Marduk yellow and the peanut butter color. So priming the wing in black originally. Scale 75s do have great coverage over black, so Annie actually mentions that in the tutorial. Nice. How to add your highlights, and how to add some extra black and white just to push that contrast up a little bit. So extra shadow washes, adding 4 parts peanut butter, 1 black, 1 and 3 water, and that will give you a nice deep brown for in those recesses. And of course, as always, his giving back. Now, being able to support charities with the business that you're running, I cannot fault them for. It's a fantastic idea and always makes me feel better about spending money. Anyway, bear with me 2 seconds. I think I have a needle somewhere nearby. I do. One thing I didn't think that I would need. So, another use for your old airbrush needles. Since the Scale 75s do come sealed, so you don't get a leak like we did last month when we had a very slight leak, although it was not a problem, you do have to pierce your bottles. Now, I did bring a little bit of paper with us this time so we can actually see what these are like. So, give it a good shake. Always give your paints a good shake before you use them. And since that's just a little bit of medium at the top, so the Scale 75 stuff sometimes has a little bit of extra medium at the top as well, which is why I always add or take a little out. It's just to stop the paints coalescing too much in the bottles. Now, I don't know how well it'll pick up on here, but I've got a little bit better lighting this time. But with the yellow, you can see the coverage on that. From one slight pull, you're getting a lot of coverage, and that is a really, really rich and deep color. That goes on absolutely beautifully. It's silky smooth. It's almost a gel consistency for the paint itself. And you know, for you Bad Moon players out there, there's a highlight color that, yeah, I can see myself using this a lot. I've got a commission in at the minute where I'm doing some Bad Moons for a friend, and I've been using Vallejo's Scrofulous Brown as the main yellow color because it actually goes on better. It looks more yellow when it's pushed out. So let's see. Second one we've got, now this one might not show up as well because we're going on to a white background with this. It's almost like a bone or cream color, but it's called a high key yellow. So take a little of the medium out of the top and then put that down on there. So you can just about see it on that. And again, bringing it down for coverage, single brush, and yeah, that covers again really, really well. And as it dries, I'm seeing a lot more of the actual yellow to it. So it starts off as a cream, but it dries. It darkens down as it dries to a yellow. Yeah, that's a, well, it's more of a yellowy bone. So that would be really nice for old bone and old skeletons as a base coat before highlights and before washes. And this one, this is the one that's interesting me. This is the peanut butter. Now, one, I'm a fat man. I'm a fan of peanut butter, full stop, anyway. But what's this going to be like as a brown? So, again, get rid of just that little bit of medium at the top. And that's actually a little darker than I was expecting. It's like a leather brown, like the old GW leather brown. So I can see a lot of uses again for this. Texture, as creamy as always. And thinning down as we go down the page. Now this would be really nice for non-metallic gold. In fact, I think the trio for painting non-metallic gold, which is something I've still got to learn myself, but that trio would be a lovely trio. Not just for the feathers, as he's pointed out in there, but that as a non-metallic gold recipe. Now, we'll see how these blend. Yeah, I could see these being used really nicely. It's dried on the cream, but I could see it being used very nicely for a non-metallic gold recipe. And as I said before, they blend really well. You've got quite a decent work time on them. But play with them. That's the whole point. Ow. The other thing I'll say is don't shake bottles when you've got a very, very sharp needle in your hand. Say blood for the blood god is good, but, you know, try not to bleed over things. Now this is starting off with the rust texture. Now, I'm going to give it a bit more of a shake because with it being a texture paint, we want to make sure that everything is mixed up well in there. Now, if this is like the other one that I've used, it's going to have a slightly gritty texture, which it is. Now this, as you can see, has a lot of coverage. Really nice, deep brown. Showing up slightly more red on the camera, more of a reddish brown on the camera, but it leaves a really nice texture, which you can use a brush to roughen up a little bit more of. Good for putting into panel joins and just to give you a bit of a rougher texture for your models as you're applying rust to them. Now, let's see what the properties of the rust wash is like. So far, really liking this. You can get this in bigger bottles in their weathering line. So now these are thin. These are very thin, actually. And I do like this one. This is... Now, every so often I'll clean out my airbrush tank, my compressor tank, and I'll get pure rust out of that. And I have to say that, yes, this does actually spread like real rust where it's dropped on there. The pigment, it's very heavy pigment. It stays where you put it. And putting it over the rust texture, it's pigment rich enough to change the tone. So yes, that's the dark rust. And finally on these ones, we've got the light rust. Right, so the light rust, yeah, now that, it's almost like a browner version of the peanut butter, but just look at the coverage on that. Again, heavy pigment. So that's going to stay where you need it to go. You'll have a little working time. Now I am using this on just standard printer paper, so it will absorb into the paper quite quickly, but even so, I'm still getting a little bit of working time on it here. So yeah, and then add a little bit of the texture in. So as you can see, it is actually giving us really good coverage. In fact, it's giving us a lot more coverage than the paints do. Which is to be expected because the paints don't have as much liquid to flow. Now, this will not show up, I don't think, on our paper, but we're going to take a look anyway, just in case I'm wrong. Oh, so it comes very well protected to make sure accidents don't happen in shipping. Just be ready for it to be slightly messy when you're taking it off. And I'm loving this bottle design on here, which is a twist bottle. I really have stabbed myself with that. That hurt. So that the paint has a built-in nozzle rather than something you have to open up yourself. So let's take a look. And how does it look straight from the bottle? It looks like a silver paint. It looks like a very, very thin silver. Right. And actually a very nice silver. Now I'll put it over the darkest color we have here, which is the rust. And you can see it's a very glittery, thin, almost like a silver wash. And it's reactivating that wash for us, because obviously I'm doing this on paper. So actually this, I can see where other uses for it, like basic very thin scratches, because the paint itself is incredibly thin. It's almost like there's nothing to it, but the metallic pigment in it is really nice. Now I did bring another brush with us because I knew we were getting a pigment. So just for a little of the blue, and always recover your pigments as soon as you can. And let's see what these look like on paper. Oh, it's not showing very well on there, but it is a very pale shimmer blue on that. Now there's not that much of a metallic tint to it. Now I know this isn't the reason or the actual purpose for it, but we'll try it on a darker surface and you can see instantly how vibrant it is. And now that I can see the metallic now. Now that is stunning. That is a stunning blue color on that darker material there. Now next month what we'll do is we'll split the paper into black and white so we can test things out a little better. Now putting it with the Comart, it's giving it a very nice strong pearlescent blue, but that on a dark color, yeah, I can see quite a few uses for that. That's it's almost got a light of its own, an internal light to it. So yeah, there are definitely going to be uses for this. Again, the uses for it will depend on yourself. I can see this going over the Green Stuff World pearlescence as well, to give a little bit more of a pop to them, although they don't really need it that much. But for stuff like Alpha Legion, or again for beetle carapaces and things like that for insects, yeah, definitely can see a use for these. Definitely can see a use for these. So, all in all, another very good month from Asset Drop, giving us our 3 rust recipes here, which I can see other uses for other than just rust. Our 3 set of Scale 75 fantasy and games paints. Now the thing with the fantasy and games ones as well, I do believe they have a slightly different medium in them, which makes them a little bit more robust on miniatures as well. So the miniatures themselves can take a little bit more of a battering on the tabletop. But these, as I say, I can see a great use for non-metallic gold on. These will be fantastic for that. And possibly even shading the metallics, the non-metallic gold down with some of this dark rust wash in, just to push those shadows a little bit further with this, which looks really nice. And our medium, our pearlescent medium and pearlescent pigment. Something you've got to have a use for, but always useful to have, because you never know when you're going to have that miniature, which will give you the use for it. Complete with our Discovery Painting Guide, and of course, who can forget the sweeties? Not a bad month at all. Not the best month, but not a bad month. I'm actually quite impressed. I'm happy. I'm happy with this. Yes. Every month is always. This is always my favorite time of the month when we do get our asset drop delivery through. Now, asset drop. Don't send me these for free. I will only ever review things on here that I've used, that I actually will be able to recommend or warn you guys away from. I have got a video coming up on a new vinyl battle mat that I was sent for free. After buying one of the company's other mats, they did me a custom mat, and I can't, again, fantastic. I can't say enough good things about it, especially for the price of their normal mats. Now, we'll do that later on today, hopefully. But you may see it in a battle report first, because we do have a couple of battle reports coming up in the next few days as well. But we'll wrap it up there for you guys. That's been this month's Asset Drop. So that's January 2019. Go to the Asset Drop website. Get yourself signed up for this. You will not regret it. It is like Christmas every month. You just don't know what you're going to get, and you will find yourself really itching to get into these boxes. I know I do. Anyway, guys, until next time, we shall talk to you later. Take care.